Works Committee for the City of Hudson, and we're meeting on Monday, February 10th, 2025. My name is Joy Knudsen, and I'm the chair of this committee. I'm going to call the roll tonight. Sarah Brook.
Here.
Mike Kennedy.
Here.
Thank you very much. We have all of our council members in attendance. I'd also like to introduce you our professional staff from the City of Hudson. That's present to the far right is Deb Andrews. She's the Executive Assistant for Public Works and Parks Department. And then directly to my right is Mike Moraes, who is the Public Works and Parks Director. And to my left is Aaron McPhee Anderson, who is the City Engineer for Hudson. So we have our agenda in front of us tonight. First item is approval of minutes from January 13th meeting. Any comments or corrections?
I noticed one thing.
Yes, sir.
Even though you're multi-talented, we have Sarah listed as present and absent.
I saw that too. Very sharp. You caught
There in
that.
spirit.
Yes, exactly.
I
That
did
is
watch
true.
the meeting. I
Did
did
you?
watch it
Okay.
afterwards.
So,
Just
well,
to-
she
just-
was in fact absent, so there we go.
Other than that,
Thank you.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second for approval of minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Those are approved. Okay, at this time, we take a few minutes to allow comments and suggestions from Hudson residents who might be interested in sharing observations, concerns, or suggestions for us for improvements throughout the city, or concerns or problems they might have noted. No one's in the audience tonight, so we'll move on to the next item, which is new business. And under new business is discussion of Rural and Tribal Assistance Pilot Program, a grant opportunity that's come forward.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this item, I get a lot of emails about different grant programs, and this one actually, kind of reading through it, and Maverick sat in a webinar, it seemed like we are eligible for it. So it's just another grant program that the federal government is putting out there to help like rural and tribal communities with infrastructure projects, kind of getting them started. And so it is just covering planning and design of a transportation infrastructure project. And they are giving out a total of 10 million. So it'll be about 13 to 50 awards given. And the applications are submitted online. And what sounded really interesting about it is it says it's a first come, first serve basis, which reading into it, there still is a little bit of merit criteria. You kind of, if you get your application like 2 p.m. on March 4th, they start looking at them. I think if they're eligible projects and they kind of meet all the criteria, they move it on to the next phase. And my understanding is like that's kind of, they start awarding them until the money gets taken. There are some criteria, it looks like they'll only put 20% to each state. So I'm guessing, there's still some moving around of the projects. If Wisconsin ends up putting in a lot of applications at the beginning, maybe they wouldn't, do them all to the kind of like they made it sound like the first come, first serve. So we thought, well, why not try it? It's just an online application, so we can do it in-house. It wasn't too intensive. There's a few just descriptions you have to include, but you don't need letters of support. You don't need to do any attachments, nothing fancy. So it seemed like a good one that hopefully we could just try with minimal effort, I guess, and just see what happens. And so we were thinking of maybe doing Locust Street, that since we're already be constructing in 2027, they want this money to be spent within like 3 years. So we felt like since we're already spending money on Locust Street and it seems to like meet the criteria, that why not try that one? So we just wanted to bring it up and see if you guys felt like we should go in a different direction. If we do a project that we're not really planning on doing yet, we would eventually just have to put more money into those projects. And so we felt like this would be the easiest way to use the money. So we'd probably only ask to cover maybe between the minimum and maximum. I don't think we'd go after the full 750,000 just because the design for Locust won't be that expensive and it's only to cover planning and design. So we would just do maybe like 300,000 and maybe that gives us a better chance of getting it too.
And the other reason we suggested Locust is in 2026, the street maintenance program. That's when we're going to do our large scale kind of mill and overlay program to bring a bunch of streets up to snuff. And so the grant, those types of projects don't meet the grant criteria. And so the next biggest one that we have kind of on the docket penciled in right now is the Locust Street one. So that's the other reason why we're recommending it. And we really don't have anything set in stone in 2028. And like Aaron said, it doesn't behoove us to try to rush something when we might not do that project anyway. So that's kind of why we're recommending Locust as well.
Could you, sorry that I don't recall this because I'm sure we've discussed it. How much do you think we're planning to spend on the design? I mean, we've engaged a firm
Yeah.
to start the public input and so on.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that typically,
Trying to think of what I put in the budget.
sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah. I would need to look back.
This
at my
would help
notes, but yeah, this would
Definitely help
basically
cover
cover the 2026 design. And I don't know, we're gonna be paying this year for some preliminary. I don't know if we could still submit for what we're spending this year.
Yeah.
Maybe. It is a reimbursement program, so you do have to pay for it and then request reimbursement. But sometimes it won't cover things, before, I guess, the grant was awarded.
Sure,
but-
that was already in place.
Yeah,
Something that might have been.
Yeah, so it would probably be closer to 200,000 if we're only gonna be using it on design.
Sure, because
Well,
that is restricted
Yeah.
there.
And like Aaron alluded to, the other nice thing is just the ability for us to do it in-house as staff, with limited staff hours into it. So I mean, it won't take us long to put the program together. So it's one of those things like, as long as we can do it in-house and we're not having to pay a consultant to do it, might as well take a swing at it, right? So.
But I like too, the idea that it seems to line up nicely with things that we are gonna have to write a check for.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes these grants are, we got it, now let's find, it's like having a coupon, right? For 50% off, you still have to
Yes.
come up with the other 50 or whatever. But this one fits nicely, so it's very focused on what we need to do, and the idea is more filling out some forms than really a lot of work than I think that's a good idea for us to try for it.
Yeah, okay.
I just had a clarifying question. So it says for rural and tribal communities. So do we fall
Yeah, we fall into rural,
we do?
yes.
Okay.
And they have a very clear mapping tool to see, and I can't remember what it says on a population under maybe 150 for the whole area or something is considered rural. So yeah, yep, we qualify.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you'd like us to approve that
I
if we
think just
agree?
approve support.
Yes.
I guess for,
Yeah, make a motion to
To-
direct staff to apply for.
yeah.
And
rural
does
fund.
it need to be approved by council then, or not necessarily?
No.
Yeah, okay. Because you want to get the work done and get
Yeah.
it at 2 PM, someone's
Yeah.
got to sit at a very fast computer and
Yeah.
like
Yes.
buying tickets to Taylor Swift.
If we were
or
spending,
Right,
if we were
yeah.
spending
Exactly.
yeah, if we were spending money on consultant fees, then I would say let's bring it forward. But the fact that we're just going to do it in-house.
Sure.
and- Yeah.
But that we're agreeing with your choice of
Project.
where we'll identify that project, and clearly, I mean, I know most of these grants do want to see our commitment to it, and we have already.
Yeah.
We definitely
Yeah.
have commitment in the sense that we're doing the public engagement and have hired a firm, so.
Yep.
Okay, anyone care to make a motion?
Move to approve, or move to direct city staff to proceed with a grant opportunity through the Rural and Tribal Assistance Pilot Program.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second that direct the staff to move ahead and apply for this grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Very good, that's approved. Next item is to discuss, as the Public Works Department begins future soon, hopefully within a year, consolidating at the new facility, 2101 O'Neill Road, making decisions towards how the properties at the two locations, east and west side of Second Street, would be utilized. So, I don't know if you have input or new information for us, or you just want to.
No, this is just
guide us a
basically
bit.
like a kickoff. Obviously, this will be a process, and there's a lot of moving pieces in place, but just want to kind of get an initial, discussion happening. I know there's some topics and other committees that want to be brought forward, so I just wanted to put it on the agenda tonight to just get things out on the open and kind of in the minutes so that we can refer back to them. Obviously, the current facility will be moving into one half of that, operating out of half of that site. And so until we take over the entire facility, we'll still need to utilize one of the sites on the north end of town for extra storage. The 20,000 square feet that we're moving into won't be able to house all the equipment. When we move over the whole building, when the current tenant on the other side leaves, then we'll be able to, get rid of everything on the north side of town, but until then. So keep that in mind as we move forward. When we move into the new 2101 O'Neill Road, this December, we'll still need to utilize some space on the north side of town. We could probably convert all of it into one, so we could get rid of one or the other.
So what sort of things, what kind of equipment do you
Yep.
anticipate?
Yep, so we'll have road patch trailer, we'll have the skidder trailer, we'll probably have, we'll probably winterize a sweeper and keep it there, possibly. It's gonna be interesting to see how we kind of lay out. We kind of have an idea of what we can fit inside the 21 O'Neill site, but we have a trailer for the cement saw, we have a trailer for the roller with the roller on it. It's just some of that ancillary equipment on trailers that we won't be able to house at the site when we're only in one half of the building.
And are they stored outside for the most
Nope,
part?
most of our equipment, if not all of our equipment, is stored
You
inside
try,
right
that
now.
is the
Yep,
goal,
yep,
yeah.
absolutely.
Longer lifespan, et cetera?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. Go
Nope,
ahead with
nope.
what else you had to say.
So I know it kind of came up just based on some conversations, some other committees, so I know, Sarah, you're a part of that, so I just want to throw it
Thank
over to
you.
you and.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I'm part of the St. Croix Bike and Pedestrian Trail Coalition, which is a mouthful. And that is I represent our council on that committee or that coalition. And they had asked us when the time comes on the west property that we consider doing an easement in hopes that a trail will go through that area for bike and pedestrian. So I'm just bringing that forward so everybody's aware of it and that is a request of this group should this trail continue.
Sure, okay.
So if you don't mind if I ask, and for anyone in the general public who might be watching this meeting this evening, you can see our agenda and see a schematic or an aerial
Yep, aerial.
photo of the two properties on our agenda. It's linked on the city website. So would we be looking at page 7 of this week's agenda? Am I correct? That shows that's the west side
Yeah.
along the lake.
Yep.
Okay.
Page 6 is,
Page,
6.
Page
oh, it says
6.
it's page
Six is
7
the
on mine.
west.
Is it?
6 is west,
All right, let me bring it up.
7 is east.
2, 3, 4, 5.
That's what you're looking at?
Page 6 is the west,
Yeah, I think.
page 7 is the east.
Okay, I am looking that wrong. Yep, okay. So this is the east.
Yep.
All right, sorry about that. Yes.
So page 6 is the west.
I
You got it.
not good at maps. I've been known to
That's all
turn
right.
maps upside down because they spatially. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So is that the route that you're saying that the bike, they've identified as a potential connecting point? They would need an easement through.
I'm sorry, I was having a hard time getting the attachments to pull on my screen, but I have them
Okay,
now.
well, that's okay. But am I correct? Mike?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the, yep. Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
in that,
That's the west, yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
You got it. So obviously, as we discuss these sites. We'll discuss them here and at Finance and Council. So, I mean, we'll all have opportunities to chime in on when that time
Right.
comes. But I think just like you said, from your vantage point, being on that committee, you just want it on in the minutes that this is a request that they have of the city.
Yep, have it on people's radar. So yes, it's the portion that's kind of goes off of Bridge Street,
Yeah.
that down by
Sure.
the Union Pacific rail line.
Sure, and so that, again, on our aerial view, page 6 of our agenda, the cars that are parked there, that's the impound lot?
Yes,
So you have quite a few, there's not usually that many cars there, they had quite a
No,
few
yeah, there's
that
quite a
day.
few there.
And that belongs to the city,
Yep,
correct?
correct.
And is it true that when the new police department building is up and running, fully operational, they will have impound on the property there?
Correct, yep. So when they're up and running, this impound lot will be moved up to their new facility, and this will cease to exist. So that parcel will be vacant. And so the impound lot is actually, it's owned by the city, but it's a separate parcel number. And then the two to the north, so the one with the green shed and the old bus garage, those are actually one parcel, even though you can kind of see it
okay.
split. So there's two total parcels there that are owned by the city.
They are, but you're not, so when, at a prior
Yeah.
meeting, you reported to us a potential assessment of these properties
Yeah.
recently done by a commercial realtor.
Yep.
Were you including the bus? So
Yep.
that larger structure is called the
Yep.
bus barn, okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. I'll-
So you don't consider that public works facility, yet it is the city's facility, and
Yep.
in time, we'll be able to vacate?
Yeah.
That we're hoping to?
Yep,
If
absolutely.
everything goes through as planned?
Yep, whoever's sitting at council on that time will have the opportunity to discuss, to sell it, to continue to use, whatever their purview is, so. But yeah, once we are up and running fully up at 21 O'Neill Road, we won't need to utilize this site again for public works operations.
Right now, do you have a feeling which side you would keep going until you mentioned needing to take complete usage
Yeah.
of the O'Neill Road building?
Yeah, so my initial thoughts is what I would recommend is we continue to use the east side site, just because of the salt storage. We can use that as a satellite, so the guys that are coming from North Hudson into work during winter plowing season, they can hop into a truck right there on the north side of town and start plowing that area, have fuel and salt available to them. Having said that, that's probably the more desirable sites to get rid of. So I mean, it's kind of a catch-22. But that's my gut feeling at this point.
Sure. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that, because I did not realize that we wouldn't be able to completely move to the new location.
Yeah.
So that's good information to have.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments? Sorry, I'm hogging the discussion.
No, but onto that, with the west side, do you think that'll sell as one package? I mean, there's two lots, but I'm assuming,
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't assume anything, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't assume anything. I mean, it could be sold as two separate lots, I would assume, based on
Okay.
two separate parcels. They could maybe be combined.
Okay, so either one.
Yeah,
And I was just thinking, again, I don't want to be the micromanager, not all the time anyway, sometimes. If the police are going to need that impound lot for maybe a little bit longer, then you can make your move to your new building. It, to me, sort of sounds like then that lot, or that package, we're just going to delay the potential sale of that until the police are done with it. And then if you occupy the east side, we're not going to be able to get rid of that for a while too. So it's stretching, and again,
Still
that's
ways out.
just what came to mind, is that if you did hang on to the west side, the police are still going to use it or whatever, and we can get the east side all wrapped up and on the market, and
yeah.
start positive cash flowing on that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not gonna.
And it'll be one of those things where we have it sketched out what we can fit in the new facility during that phase one when we're in half the building. Until we're actually in there and start operating out of it, we're gonna be able to kind of move some things around and see what we can and can't get in
Right.
there, right? It might be one of those things where maybe we can offload both of them and shove some more stuff in Ward Avenue, too.
Okay.
We have that site available. So, until we actually get in there and start using it, I don't want to pull the pin on anything,
Makes sense, yeah.
obviously.
Absolutely.
But everything will be on the table,
Yeah.
obviously, and we'll make whatever work.
Right.
So,
Did you have any more comments from the coalition or
No.
how things are progressing there?
Sure. We continue to work with North Hudson and the county and to keep things moving forward. Right now, things are in the hands of North Hudson as they're trying to make some decisions on zoning in that area. So we're taking little steps forward, and it's a lot to get 3 different government entities to partner together on this. But I certainly hope it happens because it is a beautiful spot that I know pedestrians and cyclists would love.
Okay. Well, thanks
And-
for your
and
work on
Fisher
it.
people.
I know
Yeah.
you've been serving on that committee for several years. I mean, I know it kicked off a couple of years ago with the special focus, but you're continuing to meet and.
We are.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, like you said, a future council will determine, I mean, certainly the value, depending on where the easement would lay and a potential trail, does that affect the value of the property, and can the city afford to, sort of donate that or, take a little bit of a loss on it financially? I know Hudson, and the community around us, when people are passionate about things, can do a lot for fundraising and so on too, so you never know, maybe there'll be some private fundraising that helps to make some of that a reality. I don't know, like you said, very challenging with the 3 different entities, each owning a little portion of the area that you're trying to cross.
And I think as soon as agreement happens, there is a group that's ready to start fundraising
Sure.
to help with that.
Yeah.
So
Once you have something to show the
we
public,
have some agreements.
this
Yeah.
is what we're trying to do. Okay.
Absolutely.
So is there any action on that?
Nope.
All right, well, thanks for the
General
update and the
discussion.
information.
Thank you.
That helps us to think about how we're moving forward. Okay, our next item is then in old business, discussion, possible action to approve the 2025 O'Neill Road improvements project planning by Erin McPhee Anderson.
Yeah, so this item, we are working on the plans for O'Neill Road from Hanley to Tower. So we'll be reconstructing that, pavement reclamation, redoing all of the curb and gutter, and then adding a trail on the west side. So I have included the kind of preliminary civil plans showing that design. It will look very similar, we're gonna keep the curb and gutter in the same exact location, so it's just being reconstructed based on the poor quality of it. And so we'll be reconstructing all of the driveways on both sides to be all concrete aprons to kind of go with our commercial standards that we would apply to any new development. And having the 8-foot wide kind of a blacktop path on the west side. So these plans are just, it's not the full plans and specs, we're still working towards that, and we plan to have that at the council meeting on March 4th, and then we can go out to bidding, have the bid opening at the end of March, and then approve a contract hopefully in April. So that's kind of the timeline for the design. So we are chugging away, making good progress, and just wanted to present them here as we typically do, I think, when we get these plans approved, so. I guess I don't know if there's not too much probably to highlight. The Public Works driveway, that's on, well, let's see, what page is that? Of the packet, page 11. The Public Works facility has 2 driveways off of O'Neill. There's kind of a main entrance into like the office building space, and then there's another entrance like the backside. One of them we are gonna make a little bit smaller because it's absurdly large, and it doesn't need to be that big even for like our public works operations. So we're gonna shrink that down. A little less pavement area, more grass, kind of makes the trail in between the 2 driveways a little better. And then actually the other driveway has like a center median in it with a sign, and we were just gonna take that out. We didn't feel like the center median was really necessary. We're not gonna have a sign.
Was it like a monument sign?
Yeah, kind of a monument sign
Okay.
in the middle of
Sure.
of the driveway, so just for plowing and you know,
Access, general access.
it's like we
Sure.
figure we just kind of take that out in this project. 'Cause
Simplify
we're
it,
already
okay.
doing so much right next to it.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
Just, is our lease agreeable with removing that sign? Because I think it has,
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, that is a good question. I'll double check that.
Okay.
That's a good point. I didn't really think of that. Yeah, because there is
They have their
advertising. They
signage
have
on it.
progressive
Yeah, they
rail
have
on it, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So if we do need, if that's the case, if they do need to have some signage out there, what we would probably do is just move a temporary sign, put it
Yeah.
on like some 4x4
Yep.
posts in the lawn.
yep.
You know, display their sign, and then when they
Yep.
decide to move out, we'll just pull it out.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
That we could do that or provide and
Yeah.
cover the cost of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
That would be pretty simple to do.
Good point, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not really any other changes to like property access. So,
And you did meet with the private utility companies, and they didn't have any?
yes, yep, so they were much better with the trail being on this side than the other side. It's kind of hard to tell in these plans, but if I printed them in color, there's a lot of private utilities along this corridor, and most of them are running mainly on the east side. And they have, like Excel has some bigger transformer boxes that would be a lot more timely and expensive to relocate for the trail. So yeah, this side seems to work better for the utilities as well. The light poles will need to be relocated, but that is something that they are Excel owned and they have to do it at their cost.
Okay.
So one question actually is they said we could move them from the boulevard to behind the trail, so that it'd kind of be shining light on the trail and the roadway. So I was kind of leaning towards that route, because it's like, I don't see why not. They said they could put longer arms on them if they needed to.
Is there enough room behind the trail and the right of way?
Yeah, we do there are utility easements along here, so like 10 to 15 feet beyond the right of way, that's for utilities, so to me, a light pole is a utility,
Yeah.
so we would have space beyond the right of way.
And they would cover the cost of
Yeah,
that.
yep.
One question I had, because my neighborhood that I live in, Laurel 17th, it's been probably 8 or 10 years that our lights were changed out, and they are very focused downward, kind of a cone of light rather than sort of broadcasting, which I think there's mixed views on what people like. It seems like in that kind of an area where it's pretty wide open, not residential, having the broadcast light would be better, but I don't know if we get to have a say in that.
Yeah, we do.
We do?
Yeah, so in some of those instances, we can just reach out to Excel Energy directly. They have different style of luminaires available at different wattages. And so, because, for example, at Foxglove and Hanley by Aldi there's a trail that crosses right by Aldi, and a resident reached out about low lighting, so on and so forth. So I did reach out to Excel Energy, and they gave me a couple of different ideas. So yes, we do have that at our disposal. Usually in residential area, yeah, you bring up some people.
Yeah, some
It's
people like
very
the
interesting, yes,
light, yeah.
yes, exactly.
Others
So
prefer- they don't want it shining in their
exactly.
house at night.
So in the residential areas, it's more of that direct focus, kind of down right at where more of a commercial or, industrial type application, maybe we can get away with more of the broadcast type luminaire.
Sure,
Yeah, well, I could talk with them about
Yeah.
that.
sure.
To kind of
Just,
confirm.
I like that idea that it shines out,
Yeah. And then,
makes that walking path appealing at night or
Right.
towards dusk.
Yeah.
Aaron, can you just touch base on where the trail ties in by Hanley Road, and then our
Yeah.
internal discussions on crossing there, and just kind of see if we're on
Oh, yeah.
the right page there?
Yeah, so
Committee?
page 14, I think, is of the
Yep.
packet, right? Is
Yep,
that what page
correct.
you're on? Okay.
Yep.
So we show the trail, so actually it's kind of interesting. The city actually owns that like whole triangle. You see there's kind of a diagonal property line. And so you can see the trail looks like it's beyond the right of way, but the city actually owns that kind of corner property as well. So we show, yeah, this corner was interesting because we're kind of trying to work with the St. Croix Business Park sign that's in there, which is technically in the right of way. But it looks like we could work around it and kind of wiggle the trail behind it. we will probably we will have to lose some of the landscaping, probably not the large trees of kind of like that landscaped area that's up there. I don't know who originally put those in, but that is kind of, with the grading, it's kind of a steep grade there, so that's gonna look a little different. And then we talked kind of in length about whether we should have a crossing here, across Hanley Road, and just kind of looking at the different options, looking at some standards for crossing. We would definitely want to include like a median island on Hanley, and we just felt like right now at this time, we're not sure how much people are gonna want to cross at this location. It is kind of, obviously there's a lot of like big trucks turning at this intersection, so it just doesn't seem like the most ideal intersection for a pedestrian crossing. And we do have a crossing with the RFB on either end. And so we felt like there was enough opportunities for people to choose where they want to cross. You know, there could be some backtracking for some people, but you know, it's something that would be feasible in the future if we really wanted to, if it develops to the south and a lot of people are want to crossing there. But we felt like a lot of people will want to be going to the park so they can take the trail and cross Hanley at the White Camp Park Road, which is also O'Neill.
What is that, like 2 blocks down?
Yeah,
Or
and
would you say, I mean, I know it's not a city block, but,
Two block, yeah.
Pardon me?
Yeah, it's actually only one intersection away.
okay, sure.
but
It's the next intersection.
It's the next intersection. And then the other crossing is kind of at Heritage Boulevard, which is a little bit further away. But
Yeah, the crossing at that White Camp Park is 750 feet away, so
Okay.
a couple blocks.
yeah.
Okay.
Would you take that existing curb cut out then?
Yeah, we were thinking we'd just remove it because it's not really going anywhere.
Because the path doesn't continue
Correct.
to the
East.
east.
Yeah,
of
it doesn't.
Right.
So we were gonna just remove that, yeah.
Okay.
And the chances of us putting a trail on the south side of Hanley are probably slim to none, knowing that there's one already on the north side.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be wise to duplicate that all the way along Hanley. I think kind of what Aaron was alluding to is once this trail is installed, and development happens to the south side of the city, we'll get a general sense of pedestrian movements.
Right.
And if in the future there is some feedback that a crossing would like to be installed there at the Hanley and O'Neill Road right there by the Business Park Monument, we can look at adding that at a future project without changing the integrity of the new road or the new trail. It wouldn't really
Yeah, that's a
affect
good
it.
plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about that?
Just before we go to make an action or anything on this, I guess when I saw this on the agenda, I didn't realize there was going to be some back and forth about Excel Energy. I am now employed by them, so I think I should, until I talk to our city attorney, I don't think I should be part of, and I know we were just talking about
Yeah.
lighting and that kind of stuff, but I would
Right.
rather not have there be any,
Yeah, that's fine.
so I just don't feel comfortable
Okay.
making the motion or probably voting on this one.
Okay. So you're recusing?
I am
Thank you.
recusing
All
myself.
right, thanks for clarifying that.
So you want a motion on,
If you're so inclined.
so moved?
Seconded. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the project plans for the 2025 O'Neill Road improvements. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. Very good. And again, thanks for all your work. It's great to have a project that's in-house, so it feels good that that design work is done here and
Yeah.
ready to go. And our design work has been done for the other major project for this spring, this next year.
Yeah, for.
With 11th Street.
Yeah, 11th
With
Street,
that
yeah,
outside
yeah.
firm. So
Yes.
that's great. Hopefully you'll get a breather and apply for more grants or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys, I guess you're out supervising the work on the streets too, aren't you? We appreciate it.
Yep.
Busy, you're always busy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a project update then about urban forestry.
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to bring forward the latest update on emerald ash borer, and then just some opportunities coming up this spring. So our contractual service, our contract with Willow River Tree, they're in full swing. We have given them, they were getting through their first round of emerald ash borer removals, which was approximately 75 trees. They're just finishing that up, probably be done by the end of this week, maybe linger into next. So knowing that, we put together another list of 100 trees, emerald ash borer, or the ash trees to remove throughout the community. I think we kind of hit the Laurel Loop area on phase 2.
Yes, I see the red marks.
Yeah, so
that's great.
if you're driving around the community and you see a red X or a red circle on an ash tree, those are designated for removal. Thus far, a majority of the residents have been positive with the program. Haven't had any complaints or rebuttals on removing the tree in their boulevards. They're to the point now that the ones that are being selected and removed are, you can tell that they're infected and they're half dead or not fully dead, already. So it's been a easy program to communicate with the public, not a lot of outcry. We are staying away from those trees that have been treated in the past and that are in good condition yet. We'll kind of just continue to monitor those over the next year or two and just obviously remove them as needed. And so, we are down to, once we kind of get through phase 2, we were at about 350. So we'll be down to, 150 minus 75, 175 remaining around there. So we're kind of getting down to the end, light at the end of the tunnel. We started with approximately 1,400 ash trees in the community several years ago when this program started back in, 2015, I think we started removals, somewhere in there, in-house removals. So the city and my predecessor did a great job on preparing for this. We weren't a community that kind of just sat on our hands and waited to doomsday. And then we had a $2 million liability. We were able to kind of pick away at it over several years to, spread that cost out. So I commend the city for doing that. It's made my life a lot easier here the last few years. So with that being said, we will probably finish and get through removals this year for those that are infected and indeed are dead. And so now we can, transition our resources to stump grinding, whether, we'll do a majority of that in-house. We may end up contracting some of that work out just to kind of get caught up because we still have stumps that are out there from some of the storms that happened a couple years ago from the tornado that came through, right? So there's only so many stumps that we can grind internally and get through. That's one of the questions I get is, when is the stump going to be ground? When are you going to plant a new tree, right? Those are the two questions that I get, or am I going to pay for it? And so probably later this summer, we'll kind of see where we're at. We'll start an aggressive stump grinding program, restoration. And then what I anticipate is putting together a replanting program starting in 2026, using, hopefully, based on the numbers that we're getting back for removals, we might have some remaining funds in that CIP for the emerald ash borer removals. We'll probably recommend to reallocate some of those funds to start a replanting program.
Nice.
And so we'll be more concise on areas where we want to plant, making sure the right tree is in the right place, not planting in very narrow boulevards, not over utility lines. So that's one thing that we're going to have to communicate. And we have been with some of the people that have been asking questions like, just because you had a tree taken down in your front yard doesn't mean you're going to get one back, right? It might have been planted over a utility line or over a water service line or, in the vision triangle. So, but we'll try our best to, strategically replant the city because we have lost a lot of trees over the last several years between EAB and the storms. So with that being said, some of the people that I talk to, they don't want to wait that long. And so the city does have a process where residents can contact the Public Works Department, the Public Works Office, specifically myself, and we have a boulevard tree application that can be found on our website, the City of Hudson. It's under Permits and Forms, or you can go to the Urban Forestry page, and basically it's an application for residents to complete and submit back to my office. And it has, basically, you have to kind of give me the species, where you're going to plant it, And then it also covers like some of the distances that we require, 10 to 15 feet away from hydrants, 5 to 10 feet away from a gas line, street lights. So in the application, it lists out all these details for residents. So they're able to purchase a tree on their own after they gets approved from my office, and they're able to plant that tree in the right of way. And speaking of that, purchasing trees, I know last year we had a partnership with the Rotary. We helped them kind of market their program, their tree sale, their annual tree sale, and they had a great response. I think it was one of the best they had on record.
They were very happy with the results, several hundred trees.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're gonna do that again this spring.
Yes.
And so we will help support that program. It's in conjunction with Willow River Tree again, and details will be coming forward. We'll be talking about it at Urban Forestry Board, so on and so forth. And so that's an opportunity for people in the city to, purchase a tree through the Rotary at a discounted price, and plant it either in their yard, or if they want to plant it in their boulevard, obviously reach out to me before you do so. But that's an opportunity for residents.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's great. It is a great partnership. It's a Daybreak Rotary Club. David Drisky is one that has definitely spearheaded it, and I know he's known well to the Urban Forestry Committee for their shared passion. And yes, they are excited about it. I spoke with him last week, excited about another year coming forward. So they're participating in choosing, and you're going to have some input, or your committee will, hopefully, on trees that are available. So that's great. I mean, it takes really, we work together. It takes a little workload off of your staff to have to obtain the trees.
Right, exactly.
And provide them. So I think that's great. And I think it'll be well received because everyone's feeling the hurt. As they see the trees go down, they see their neighbor's tree looks dead now, and they're wondering what's going to happen next. One question I had for you, because some neighborhoods in town do not have a sidewalk in front of their home.
Yeah.
So if you have a sidewalk, it's pretty obvious what the boulevard is, and that you would assume and know that is the city right away. The grass between the sidewalk and the curb. Have you run into that as a challenge where some people don't understand that, well, that isn't your tree, that's a city tree, or they want you to take out a tree that you have to tell them, well, actually, that's your tree.
Yes.
Because there's a line there.
Yep.
How do you deal with that issue?
So there is a lot of areas throughout the community that don't have sidewalks, that it doesn't make it super obvious. And so what happens is our lead forester, Gail, he will go out and he'll tag a tree, and I'll get a phone call from the neighbor will see it, or well, I see this tree, how come you're not taking my tree down? So basically what happens is I'll go back in the archives and I'll look at some of the original plat maps to determine the right-of-ways throughout the community. And then Gail will be my eyes out in the field, and I'll say, well, this road was a 50-foot right-of-way. So basically he chops the road, in half, 25 feet from the center line in each direction. That's the right-of-way line. And in most cases, it's pretty cut and dry. There are instances where we need to pull out even more ammunition sometimes, and go into some assessor maps, or, and so I have to get involved out in the field, but haven't had too many issues with identifying trees in the right of way or not.
Sure, and if they are not healthy, I think most people appreciate, or once you explain that. My concern also would be if someone thought, well, this is my front yard, I can plant something here, and they don't realize they need to ask you. Perhaps there is a utility there.
Yeah, and
so
we don't catch all of them. There are times where somebody will plant their tree 15 feet behind the curb, and that's technically in the right of way.
Sure. At least they're going to probably be a small tree that if one of your staff recognizes it, can report back, and you can help them relocate it.
Exactly.
It's not going to be a large tree with big root structure causing any damage yet.
Because the biggest thing that I want to avoid in the future are the shared trees, because those are where we get, things get complicated, where half is owned by the city, half is owned by the property owner, maintaining it, removing it, shared costs. Those are things that I just want to try to eliminate in the future.
Sure. Thank you.
Good
Thanks for
question.
that input.
Yep.
No, that's great. And I hope it's an encouragement to people if they realize that I feel sad about my street and my neighborhood, and we've lost a lot of trees, but they could, initiate the replanting. Maybe it might be a few years before the city gets to their street or their block, and get that regrowth started if they're interested in whether they do it individually or with their neighborhood.
Yeah, because when we,
It's a great
when we do,
project.
when we do start a replanting program, we don't have the staff to maintain, let's just say the city has a goal, we want to plant like 500 trees a year. I thought, that's not sustainable for us as staff to go out there and maintain and stake and water. You know, it's going to be small increments over a 5-year process, like a couple hundred, you know, that's going to be
Because
something
of the, not just
ongoing-
planting it, but
ongoing
making sure it's
maintenance,
healthy.
yeah, yeah,
First
make-
couple of years of support.
It's very
That's
important
needed.
that first couple of
Sure.
years we take good pride in structural maintenance, structural pruning of our system, so that when they are young, that we're training that tree to have a central leader, to grow high, to not, you know, so I mean, that all takes a lot of staff time to go out there and make sure that those are being done correctly.
Sure.
So, that's all.
Thank you. Any other comments or? Okay, so, and that was just a project update. Any other updates or something? That, nothing else was listed on our agenda, but otherwise, I would accept any communications or item for future agenda. All right, very good.
When we,
Do you
when
have
we
one?
do have information on 11th Street, as far as schedules are concerned, maybe that's something that we can add to a future, nothing.
Yeah, I
until we-
actually
yeah.
emailed someone today about that, and it sounds like they're still working through things.
Yeah.
Like we don't have anything about the schedule, but yeah, hopefully by next
Yeah,
month.
once we do have an
maybe
update, we'll have
a
it on.
schedule, But
But you
Yeah, we
did
don't have it.
report at a recent council meeting that the bid process went quite well.
Yep.
yes.
Yep, that's all
So
been accepted.
we have contractors in place.
Yes.
So it's just a
Yep.
matter of the timing
Yeah.
of when they initiate, okay?
Yep.
All of that conversation made me think of something that I heard in the past, something about work being done on the bridge this next summer. Any communication on that? And if you don't have it now, maybe we could have it at a future meeting?
Hagan Street?
Well, I thought the 94 bridge, did I,
Oh, wait,
On-
the St. Croix, over the
St.
St.
Croix.
Croix?
over the
Yeah.
St. Croix?
The freeway?
Oh,
Have we heard
I thought they
anything?
moved that. I could look into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll double
Provide
check.
an update.
Okay, that'd be
'cause
great, just for the future.
I thought I had heard it was going to be moved to 2026, but
That would
I
be-
could be
Yeah, we
wrong.
need a
2026.
off.
That would be really nice.
I know, just give
Scarred
people a
from
break.
last
Give us a breather, give commuters a
But
breather.
I
Yeah,
would- I
right.
would have to double check, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other items or move to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned, thank you.